All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome tonight. Thank you for joining. So I think we just need to get started while we wait for others to join. All right. So apologies because I may not be able to put on my video, and that's because I'm using an external software to record this call. So it's not going to permit me to put on my video. Please signify if you can hear me. Welcome, Faith, Kelly, Ebenezer. Welcome, James. You're welcome too. Solomon is here, Joshua, and for our keynote speaker for tonight, I'm going to take time to introduce him when the time comes up. Please identify if you can, signify if you can hear me, please, maybe by reaction or something. Can you all hear me, please? All right, thank you. All right, so why we're here tonight is for us to really get the reasons why we're not really earning from design. I've gotten a lot of requests to create a course around how to market oneself as a graphic designer, in order to really earn. Because the truth is, if you learn accurately, you should be able to earn. And earning is actually another aspect that needs to be studied. And that's why we're having this webinar tonight. All right. So the person that's going to handle this is I'm always tempted to add doctor to to his name. All right. So he's good at that. So what we're going to do tonight is this is going to be a series, right? So we are just starting out tonight. So what we're going to do tonight is to really diagnose, like give a diagnosis of what can be wrong if you are really not earning from design. All right. If you're not earning from, your skill, generally, you must not be a designer before you benefit from this webinar. So our speaker is really going to point out some of the reasons why, most of us might be in that category. All right. And because of the requests I've received over the years, I've really started taking steps to see how that gap can be closed. And that's why we're having this webinar tonight. So, like I've said, we are going to start and others are going to join us subsequently. So if you are in here already, that shows that you are ready to really take your skill to another level. You're ready to really earn from your skill. Okay, so thank you for joining once again. So I'm really going to just welcome our speaker. It's going to be a brief one for tonight. So like I've said, this is going to be a series, and hopefully next week or the week after, the coming week, we'll probably have another session like this, kind of like a build up on what we're going to have today. All right, so let's welcome Joshua Arukwe. Like I've said, I've been tempted always to add doctor to his name, and that's because of what he does at Skill Migrant Solution. All right, so he's just doing the work of actually a doctor. So if you look at the caption for this webinar, you would see that it's kind of related to what I'm trying to say. So he is going to do justice to that. So you are welcome. Please, can you celebrate him as he takes the stage? Celebrate him, celebrate him, celebrate him. You're welcome, sir. Joshua, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chris. Thank you so much. It's a very great delight to be here with you guys. I really have a thing with graphic designers. Every time I have my sessions, I always talk about graphic designers. I think they are doing a very marvelous work for every single person that's putting out stuff today on the social space and even our physical environment, because I think humans always are tilted towards the graphic engagement. Everybody wants to have a visibility of a visual representation of whatever thing that they're doing. If there's no visual representation, which is the communication, they always lose that touch. And I'm also very excited to be here, knowing the heart that Chris has towards designers. For years now, he has been teaching and guiding designers, and I've seen his work. I've also recommended people to his courses as regards these things, and um, I've seen some persons that have walked through his ranks and how their design have exploded. They're doing very well in their design's expression. It means that there's a solid foundation here. And I'm also very excited that we get to have this conversation. It's a big conversation that we can't do justice to, and I believe that's why it's a series. Even though that it's a series, it may not necessarily we might not be able to touch everything across on it. I believe there are going to be other speakers eventually that will come in, and he too will also going to take one or two topics. But I'm just going to make a lot of things aware to you tonight. It's more like an awareness engagement to open your eyes so that you can see a lot of things that you're missing out from your skill engagement and why you are not necessarily making income or making profit from whatever thing you're doing. All right. So thank you very much. Let me know if you are excited, you are here, you are engaged, you are ready to listen, you're ready to learn, you're ready to move. Amazing one. We have really, really jiggy people here. Beautiful. So, um, like Mr. Chris introduced, I did a community called Ski Migrant Solutions, and I started this engagement in the year 2023. Think about December. He is the one that did the flyer for me for that first program we had. He did the flyer for me, and we've been able to walk around that up to this time, and I've seen patterns around the skill engagement, and from that journey up to this moment, I've been able to carefully identify several stages that a skill works around. All right. Um, there's what we call the C5 framework that we have in Schema Migrant Solutions that we run through. It consists of 5 C's. The first C is on the clarity level, whereby you identify the kind of skill that you want to engage on. All right. The second skill is on competence level, where you get to build your skill and you learn how to hone that skill. You know how to do that skill very well. I believe that's where most of us are in this place. And then I think there's also a good number of us which are on the confidence level. The confidence level is the entry into the market, right? Your entry into the market. That is the confidence level. Then the consistency level. The consistency level is getting your footing in the market. That means you get your strength in the market very, very well. And then the continuity level, which is to scale whatever you're doing, to do it beyond yourself, which will consist of building teams and all of that. They have deeper explanations around them, but that's not necessarily our focus on the conversation today. My focus is on two things: to make it aware, to make it available to you, why your skill is not making profits, and there are many things that are tied to it, and I'm just going to highlight some of them as we run through in the conversation. The first thing I would like to touch is skill versus the business of skill. Skill versus the business of skill. It means that there is skill and there's a business of skill. All right. So having the knowledge of a skill is not enough. It's limited in itself because it is just a tool. All right. It means that skill is just a tool. So the most we can do with a skill is to have it. But there is a side of it that a lot of persons miss out and they don't necessarily get to maximize, right? Which is the business side of it. So skill is a tool. It helps you do a thing. It helps you get to a desired outcome, but it is not the desired outcome. All right. So the second is the business, which is called value creation. You must have heard this over time. You've heard this maybe on social media. You've seen people make posts about it over and over and over and over again. Value creation. All right. And basically, what value creation means is the word value. Especially in social studies, I love to bring things in their most simplest form so that people can actually understand and relate very well. In social studies, they taught you value. What did they teach you about value? What does value mean in social studies? Can anyone try? Value.
Okay, can I talk?
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay, in social study, they said value is the worth of a thing.
Okay, thank you very much. So, I don't know if what it taught me. I don't know if that is related with every one of us. Is that value is actually the worth of a thing, but it is what people give importance to, right? The things people give importance to, and that's the bedrock of our conversations. Everything we're going to do here, all right? So, what people give importance to, is what value is. Anybody that's trying to explain value creation for you in any way boils down to this: what people give importance to, right? So there is an underlying desire that people have towards certain things, right? People are gravitated towards things at different levels, at different ways, just to get to a certain outcome. You can understand what that particular person's desire is, and you align your skill to what that person's desire is, you have created value, right? So that is the idea around value, or value creation. So the idea of creating value is not necessarily creation, because in itself you can't create value. You can only align value. So what we are doing with graphic designs in this conversation is that we are picking graphic design as a skill, and we are aligning it to a particular desire, or someone's design or demand towards a particular outcome. For example, we have graphic designers at different levels and what they do. Right. For some persons, their interest is church engagement. Right. So they want to do church publicity, and the idea of doing that design is not because they're interested in doing designs. They don't really care about design as much. They care about design. They don't care. Your pastor don't really care about design as much. What he cares about is what the design does to the people. Right. He knows that those designs will help represent an image, an expression to the people that are going to see that flyer or whatever thing, right? And that will depict a picture. It will hit a desire in their heart, in their minds, right? It will create an expression, an image. It will spur something within them to make certain commitment towards a thing. So when they see that thing, and they're like, oh wow, this is something I'm looking for, right? Then what happens? That drives those people to commit to what that church you did that flyer for is looking for, right? It's like that's as simple in basic term. So you are connecting, you are trying to align your skill with value. That's what people give importance to present a solution, right? So that is when skills start solving problem. And when skills start solving problem, that is when income becomes necessary. Because people have desire towards a thing, what happens? They will do things to get it. Don't get scared. We are still in trade by barter system. It's just that we've painted and we've arranged it in different ways. We are still in trade by barter. You have this, I have this, I give you, you give me. Right. So if somebody wants to arrive at that particular thing called a church program, and they want people to come for that church program, and they know that they need to do publicity about it, but they need a visual expression that gets people to want this and long for it, that represents what they have in their heart, in their mind. And when people see it, they love it. This is what I'm looking for. So what happens? They look for a designer. That means you yourself having the skill of designing itself is a play. Your ability to organize text and everything is a play. But even in the skill of designing itself, you are already creating value to start selling based on the kind of design that you create. Right. So what happens is that designers create designs that does not align with the value that the customers want many times. So that becomes a very big problem. So this is the first expression of this conversation. So whatever thing that you are creating, whatever thing that you're doing, it is to an extent, so it is with an intent that we arrive at the desire, the main reason why that person reached out to you for that design. That's the first part. But then I'm also aware that some of us, we've done designs for some time and we don't even have demand. All right. Demand is a very important factor for anybody to make profit. In short, there is no how you can start, you can make profit if there is no demand for what you're doing. Right. And there is a way to create demand, or should I say there's a way to align things towards demand. There's an alignment expression towards making demand work. Recently, I took to study about what demand is and how do I create demand for things. In short, the reason why we are here in this conversation is because there's a demand. All right, every one of you have a desire. You have something that's driving you because you want to achieve something. You want to do something, and if Mr. Chris decided to say, okay, this program is going to be paid for based on the extent of demand that is available, you would want to do what? Get this. You would want to be here. You want to have this conversation because you know that it's going to help you to also make profit. That means you have a desire towards making profit. You have a desire towards making money. So if you have a little money that you're going to pay to get bigger outcome after you learn what you need to learn, you're going to take the opportunity. Straightforward. So this is the first expression, skill versus the business of skill. So skill in itself is a great thing, right? But it's a tool. It helps you curate value. So skill helps you curate value. It helps you solve problems. It helps you get to an outcome. And that outcome is towards who you are serving that skill to. That is why today we can have graphic designers that are only focused on thumbnails. We can have graphic designers that are only focused on flyers. We can have graphic designers that are only focused on corporate organizations, right? So we can have graphic designers at different expressions and different dimensions, showing people or giving people clarity around whatever they're doing. I'm going to get into that deeply. All right. So this is the first part. The second thing I want to talk about is mindset. Why your design is not generating income is because of your mindset. Two, and mindset at different levels. The first mindset I want to talk about is labor versus value creation. It means that because you've labored so much to learn this skill, you have an intuitive mindset in your head that you must do too much work. Let me put it that way. Yeah. There must be like an overhaul of work. There must be just the way you honed and took time to build your skill. There must be so much labor for you to create value. But it's not always like that. Value can be hard, but value can also be easy based on your alignment. So every time you think about value, think about what alignment. It is very essential because if the alignment clicks, it's easier to make profit. If demand exists, it's easier to make profit. I'm going to come into the conversion of demand, supply, and leverage so that you have a deeper perspective. I'm touching around these things because these are the things that makes for true income in your skill. All right. Not many people have this idea, not many people know it. Some persons only know the tactics of doing one thing. But I always love to teach from essence because if you learn from essence, there are 4 levels of learning. There's learning from tactics, there's learning from tactics, there's learning from strategies, there's learning from principles, and there's learning from essence. You learn from essence of a thing. It's easier to recreate the result in any place or anywhere. We had a We Go Loud expression. There's a program called We Go Loud where we help skill learners build visibility on social space for they build visibility, credibility, authority, and opportunities for themselves. Right. After we had that program, this time around, we had a program just to focus on the business, like a business edition, and we ran through 1 week, helping all the skill learners understand the business of their skill. By the time, while we were on the process, somebody saw one of our members saw someone's status and the person was trying to sell suits. And while he was trying to sell the suit, the guy asked him that, how much is this your suit? The guy told him the price. He said, okay, what we're going to do is that I'm going to pay you. So let's just say the suit was 20,000. He said, I'm going to pay you 10,000 naira for this suit. And the remaining 10,000, I am going to teach you how to effectively sell your suit better so that you can make profit. So he was already applying what we had taught him. He has not even finished learning everything. But because he had the confidence that, oh, this is also value. This guy is selling this thing. He wants to make profits. Know the strategy that will help him to make better profits. So he aligned the knowledge he had and then bought the suits in a lower price and offered what he had to the person that was selling. So he got some lower price and sold out himself too. So 10,000 suits was sold for 10,000 naira while he used he paid the remaining with his knowledge to the other person. So this is value play. Expend all of your energy on hard. This is hard, this is hard, this is difficult. So you spend your whole time trying to build hard. Your whole mind is going to be consumed about hardness. And even when there's an opportunity right before you to make profits, you won't even see it because you're already thinking about hard and difficult. And oh, this is not possible. So that's going to be a very big problem and challenge for you. All right. So instead of taking hard, take the route of what alignment. You can sell anything. Like graphic designer said, but you can actually sell anything. You can. You don't even have to sell the whole of it. You don't even have to do a design for somebody before you sell. You can sell. You can even sell an idea. Right now, I'm selling business ideas to people. Right? You can literally sell an idea. All you need to do is to understand what people are looking for. Right? So there are other, for example, there are other designers that are looking for what? They are looking for materials to help them make their design better. Your ability to first of all understand that, okay, this there's a need of, right? The next is to bring those things and present it in a way that is what is appealing in their skill engagement, and it holds them back. We are going to get into the deeper course of this conversation. This is number 3 thing I want to talk about: the game at play. The game at play. Business somehow, some way, it's a game. All right, the business game. If you listen to people like Alex Omosi, you can check him online. You would see some of his stuff. In short, he has a podcast called The Game, where he teaches about business. All right, so there's a game at play. Now, the first game at play I want to talk about is 3 things that rules business. All right, there are 3 things that rules business. Every expression of business is capitalized around this called demand. Demand. The second is supply. The second is supply. The third is called leverage. The third is called leverage. So you have demand, you have supply, and then you have what? Leverage. These 3 things rule every expression of business. Anything that you see happen in business is ruled by these 3 things. So business is a play of demand, supply, and leverage, right? And what is the rule? The rule is increase demand of leverage and scarce supply. All right. So the idea of business for business to thrive is what? Is to increase demand. That means to make something so great that people want it so much, right? So even if we start talking about visibility now, the idea of visibility in business is to create demand. The idea is to get people to start knowing you, to start seeing you, that you are available in the market, right? There is a principle called know, like, and trust in business, right? What it is that before you can be able to sell anything to anybody or to start gaining income from your skill, you must first of all be known. So there's a knowing concept about you, that you are in the market. So why you post on social media is not because you like posting on social media. It's so that you can be known. Why you enter someone's DM to talk about your business is not because you just want to do that. It's so that you can be known. But then it's not enough to be known, because you can be known for good thing and you can be known for bad thing. That's where branding comes in. I'm going to talk about branding later, right? So there is a knowing, but there's also the liking. For people to buy from you, they would also need to like you. The like may not necessarily be you itself. People can like you and buy from you, or they can like your product and buy from you, or they can like how you conduct your business and buy from you, right? So that's the second level, right? Knowing, liking, and then trusting. Trusting is an expression of saying that, okay, you can do this thing. You have results, right? They can trust that this thing can show up, and you can increase your possibility of trust. How? By presenting glimpse of results to these people. For example, if you are starting out in graphic designs and you've not entered the market before, the first thing you are supposed to do is not to even seek income. Is to find someone that is looking for a graphic designer right now, that is having a real program right now, that is looking for a solution right now, and do what? Offer your skill for free. What the person pays is your testimonial. The person gives you a testimonial. The testimonial becomes a credibility factor that can then stand out. You can now present it to more people, because people gravitate towards trust as to other people who have seen that this thing works. If you want to buy a product, what do you ask? Is this thing working? And what they tell you? It has worked for A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Abi? The same way. So your first action is to do it for somebody and say, okay, I've done this for this person and it worked. So you have your testimonial. You can then become bold and put a price. And go to the next person. Okay, I was able to do this one thing for this one person at this particular period, and we've been able to get this result. I can do this for you even in lesser time. And they cannot trust you to do it. But before they can trust you, they must have to know you first. They must have to know you. Whether they know you, it's either they know you or they know your products. But there must be a knowing. Now, we're talking about there's a convention around products and services. There's even a convention around productized services, whereby a service is recreated into a product. Right? It's another expression of conversation. But what we are saying is that there must be a knowing factor. All right. So the expression of creating demand is basically on aligning people towards aligning whatever solution you have towards what people desire. And there are many ways of creating demand. But first of all, is that what you are known. You are known in the market. And that's the big problem for many people today. You assume that you are a graphic designer and there's no need for you to reach out to make posts. Because you even make one post a day and your post is nothing. It does not even align with an ideal client. That's a big problem. I'm going to talk about ideal client personnel before we round up, even though our time is not much. All right. So before you can even start doing visibility on social space, I think that has to be ticked. So there's a demand. The next is supply. So what before I talk about supply, what we're trying to establish in demand is that you must increase the demand of whatever thing you're trying to create, right? So you must improve demand. When demand is much, it's easier to sell. The next is supply. Supply, the principle around supply is that what you must scarce supply. Not everybody will have it. When everybody have it, what happens? Demand reduces. When it's available to everybody, what happens? Demand reduces. So even when you are selling to people, even when you have a direct one-on-one contact with a client, you are applying the demand and supply game, right? So when you're crafting your offers, you're applying the demand and supply game. Example, maybe there are many designers out there, but you're playing a different game by niching down to a particular design. To see, I'm doing thumbnails for YouTubers. You can say I'm doing thumbnails for business coaches. YouTube thumbnails for business coaches specifically. So while you are trying to do that is not because you don't want to have designs. It's to find a place of advantage where there can be a big strength of demand. So what we're even trying to do right now, we are explaining demand and supply, and also the idea of leverage. I believe you've heard the word leverage before. Leverage is saying that leverage is saying that you put in small efforts to get bigger outcome. Right? You maximize the small efforts to get bigger outcome, or you look for a place where you can take advantage. Right? That's the play of leverage. So for someone that's looking for visibility, speaking in a webinar is what a leverage, because people don't start trusting you as an authority in a particular field. Right? A leverage for you, why you did that design as a first timer, was because you wanted to build leverage. You did that design for free because you wanted to build leverage, and the leverage was to get a testimonial. And when you got a testimonial, it now gave you the credentials of a true and trusted designer. So you can now put price to it, and people are going to buy from you. All right. So this is the demand, the supply, and leverage expressions. Now, there are two journeys you'd experience when you're trying to make income from your skill. The first is that you'd have to acquire clients, right? You have to acquire clients. It's called client acquisition. And then the next is that you're going to nurture clients. I think the first part of it is where our conversation is going to lie on today. To acquire clients. And I think that's the biggest challenge for many persons. Am I saying the truth? It's like it's hard. Clients are not showing up, they're not coming. Is that not true? So that's what many people are experiencing in their business game. And there's a reason why clients are not coming. Because if clients are coming, what happens? It means that your demand game is strong. And since your demand game is strong, it's easier to price your services the way you want to price it to make better profit. Right? So we're going to talk about client acquisition. Because if your client acquisition game works, it means that you can walk around getting customers or turning prospects into leads, and leads into customers, right? And customers into recurring customers. Please don't ever make a mistake. The first time you have a business engagement to someone should never be your last. right? Because you've not even done the real business until that client becomes recurring. Many people just do one business and they disappear. No, you have to hook them to becoming over and over and over again. That's when you are even into real business. Let's talk about client acquisition. For us to acquire clients, then the first thing I would always talk about for people to do is called market entry, which is to choose the market you want to enter into. So what market do you want to enter into? Everyone here has entered into a market called the design industry, right? The graphic design industry. And that's beautiful. But then even in that market, there is also what I call market segmentation, right? Which in other words it's called niching down, right? To niche down your skill. That means you find an edge around what you're doing. So these days there are different expressions around niching down, but it's easier to think about it in different ways. You can niche down based on your branding. You can niche down based on your solution you offer, right? So there are many ways to think about it. And for each to niche down, you ask yourself the question, around in this market, what particular way or what particular place do I want to solve problems for customers? Which customers do I want to solve problem for? That brings us to the next place, which is called the ideal client personnel. So the ideal client personnel is understanding the client that you want to serve. Because if you understand the client that you want to serve, it's easy for you to relate with them. It means it's easy for you to align your skill as a graphic designer to solve their problems. It could be that they want to make money. And if they want to make money, what happens? They themselves too need to do publicity. And they want to do publicity, what happens? They need to get people aware. If they want to get people aware, what happens? They need to do a flyer. Yes, they want to do a flyer, but they don't just want to do a flyer. They want to do a flyer that gets people to love their stuff. That is where you now come in. But you're not telling them that you can do a flyer. You are telling them that you can do a flyer that will help them get people to commit to your business. Because you can even go so in depth to know how good you are by telling them that if you do this flyer, there is a likely chance of getting maybe a particular number of persons into your business engagement if their offer is right. Right? So that's the business play. So ideal client personnel. And what is this? Basically, you build an avatar of who you want to sell to. Number one, give it a name, give the avatar a name. What does this person look like? What's this person's name? Give the name. Number two, where is this person's location? Location is not their house. Right? Well, it could be, but now we're on the online space, right? Basically, what we're saying that where can you find this person and where can this person always like, where would this person always like to be? So this information is helping you to know how to engage the person that you want to sell to. Right? So where is the location of this person? Is he on Facebook groups? Is he in your contacts? Where? Is it in church? Right? Where can you find these persons? You outline and understand where they are. The next is interest. What interests them? What is their dream? What's their desire? What's their interest? What are the things that they're interested in? Knowing their interest is a superpower because it helps you align your skill to their interests. And when it is aligned, something clicks. Attention. And when that attention clicks, what happens? Okay. When that attention clicks, then they can start listening to you and focusing on you. You can then drive them to the desired outcome. All right. So, interest. Also, you want to understand their dislikes. So that when you get into conversations, you know what pulls them off. Right? You also want to understand their pain. What is their pain? it is through their pain that you can sell to them. They are only buying to pacify their pain, right? So what is their pain? For you that learns graphic design, it could be that you just want to learn a high income skill that pays very well, right? And somehow, somewhere you heard that graphic design pays very well. And you say, oh my God, this is it. And the pain was that you were broke. You didn't have money. Money was not showing up. So if I'm going to sell to you, I'll come to you and tell you that, hey guy, I noticed that you're looking out for a high income skill that can pay very well. This skill doesn't just pay very well. It gives you opportunity to even freely live the life that you want, have your time, and anytime you want to do your skill, you can do it. From the comfort of your house, you don't even have to have a job that is 9 to 5. Now, these are other pains I'm picking out, right? The person that doesn't want to do 9 to 5. So this information is helping you to know how to approach the person when you meet him or her, or when you send your message online, or when you start making your post online. So that's the ideal client personnel. Also, there's also the age bracket and the gender, because there are things that appease to certain age level, right? And there are things that appease to certain gender level. In short, even the flyer you do, you should be able to know the ideal client personnel for the person that you are solving the problem for. So you can be able to make that flyer cheap to speak to those people, right? It's always coming.